If there is deficiency of manganese, the first and foremost is total crop failure. If one can see the entire crop field is having completely crop lost, then the credit goes to deficiency of manganese is causing total crop lost. How it do it? First and foremost, do the leaf chlorosis, and second it does is leaf wilting. When leaf is wilted, what happen? Photosynthesis will not be there, and wilted leaf will not be having capacity to do the photosynthesis, which is ultimately resulting in the falling of the plant and ultimately loss of the crop. Leaf chlorosis can be seen here. Then there is a deficiency called brown necrosis of cotyledon. When you open the seed, there is a brown colored, and that brown colored and a kind of necrosis is there, means loss of tissue is there with the brown color. It is not because of any insect or any other infection, but it is because of the deficiency of amine. And once the cotyledon is lost, seed will not get nutrient for the further growth. The next we are moving toward is molybdenum. These are the micronutrient, and this micronutrient is not having requirement in huge quantity, but still this molybdenum is having very important role discovered in the latest days, not earlier. This molybdenum is very important in the nitrogen synthesis. What happened that nitrogenase and nitrate reductase, we have seen earlier that for the fixation of the nitrogen fixation, nitrite or nitrate will not be directly involved, ammonia will not be directly involved, but nitrate is to be transferred to the nitrite, this nitrite in the ammonium, and ammonium will ultimately react with glutamate and will result in the glutamine. Now here for the fixation of nitrogen from the air to the atmosphere, nitrate reductase and nitrogenase enzymes are there, and this nitrogenase enzyme is requiring molybdenum as one important factor as a part of their metabolism. Further, it is important for the activation of some phosphatase enzymes, some dehydrogenase enzyme. So without that, phosphatase enzyme and dehydrogenase enzyme will not be working. It is cofactor of ascorbic acid, which is commonly known as vitamin C, and we know very well about the ascorbic acid. We have already studied at primary level. It is one of the important part or important constituent of the plant. Now, deficiency of molybdenum will result in the light yellow chlorosis. What happened? Chlorophyll will be lost. Why chlorophyll is lost? Because nitrogen is not available in proper amount, and nitrogen whatever the symptoms of nitrogen deficiency is there will be there because of the deficiency of molybdenum, because molybdenum is playing very important role in the fixation of nitrogen. So whatever the deficiency symptoms of nitrogen is there, here it will be there because of molybdenum, like light chlorosis, light yellow chlorosis, or leaf will become yellow, mottling of the leaf. Then in certain grass, what happens that seed production or fruit production or fruit setting will be inhibited. Only and only leaf will be there, fruit will not grow. Why fruit is not growing? Because fruit is ultimately requiring lot of storage material, and that for the storage material, lot of nitrogen is requiring, either as a stored material or as a metabolite, one of the important ingredient for metabolism of carbohydrate. But when nitrogen deficiency is there, there will not be seed or good number of seed or setting of the fruit. Further, because it is directly associated with nitrogen metabolism, molybdenum deficiency will result in the poor growth. One can see one side there is healthy plant, one side there is diseased plant or poor growth. That is because of the deficiency of molybdenum. Then next we are moving toward chlorine, and as you know very well that chlorine is a negative ion or is an ion absorbed as Cl minus 1, and chlorine is not absorbed directly from the gas. Chlorine gas is very harmful, but the dissolved chlorine, ionic chlorine, is playing very important role in the maintenance of osmotic osmosis and so many other ion related or pH related aspects. One of the important aspect is their role in the closing and opening of the stomata. We know very well that stomata opening and closing is having very essential role in transpiration and respiration. If stomata is remaining open continuously, there will be loss of water. If it is remaining continuously closed, then there will be problem of gaseous exchange. So opening and closing of the stomata is very essential part of plant physiology, and this essential task of opening and closing is maintained by two important chemicals, that is potassium as a cation and chlorine as an anion. The sodium, potassium and chlorine, these are the three which is playing very important role in opening and closing of stomata, and I have no need to further explain what is the importance of. Then it is very essential for ion exchange. What happens whenever there is absorption of a huge amount of cations, chlorine will react with them and neutralize it. If there is huge amount of negative ion, then chlorine will take the charge and chlorine will manage the things. So for the ion exchange, chlorine is playing a major role along with sodium and potassium. But chlorine is the only anion which is very important in the ionic exchange, and this ionic exchange is ultimately important, or this ion is ultimately important in the case of pH, transpiration, respiration, imbibition, absorption and many other things. And that's why the deficiency of chlorine is resulting in so many problems. The first and foremost problem one can see, that is the chlorosis of leaf. Why chlorosis of leaf will be there? Because chlorine will not exchange the ion, and because of poor ionic exchange, there will not be any kind of metabolic activity, or metabolic activity will be reduced. And the moment metabolic activity is reduced, the first and foremost effect will be there on the photosynthesis and chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll will be lost, and resulting in the loss of the chlorophyll, yellowing in the color of the leaf, and that is scientifically termed as chlorosis. Then one can see that yellow mottling of the leaves with high concentration. Even the high concentration of chlorine is harming. Low concentration is also harming. So their exact amount is very essential. Then leaf spot of the wheat, which is generally not recognized by scientists as the deficiency of mineral. People are generally considering, even the farmers are generally considering this leaf spot of wheat as a disease caused by fungi or bacteria, and they started spraying the pesticides. But in fact, analysis has shown that there is no association, or there is poor association of other microorganism with leaf spot in the wheat, but chlorine is the responsible for leaf spot disease of the wheat. So ultimately, to recover from this, one can spray only chlorinated salt, and that chlorinated salt will be enough to overcome from the deficiency of this one. So dear friends, as a part of conclusion, we can say very well. See, phosphorus is having a very important role in the ATP or the currency. So without phosphorus, other part will not work. Sulfur is having very important role in the cell wall formation. So cell membrane. So it is also essential. Nitrogen is essential for protein synthesis. Molybdenum is essential for nitrogen production. Zinc is acting as antagonist for calcium. chlorine is playing major role for pH and everything. Each and every element we studied, that is 16 element, and this 16 elements are having role directly or indirectly in metabolism, and they are interdependent on each other. It is not that the only and only one deficiency will lead to the problem of nutrition, but together deficiency of one will be having effect on another, and that another effect will ultimately result in total mineral deficiency. One can see from the slide that phosphorus, potassium, selenium, sulfur, iodine, calcium, all these are associated with each other, and it is forming a kind of matrices which is ultimately important for plant metabolism. And because of their importance, see the soil solution which should have all important mineral nutrients. Soil solution means the soil should have all these chemicals, whether it is calcium, potassium, hydrogen, ammonia, sodium, magnesium, potassium as a cation, calcium, ammonia, magnesium. See, if this all minerals are not there in the soil, ultimately it will result in the deficiency of one or another molecule, and this deficiency will ultimately lead to the reduction of the growth, reduction of the reproduction, and so on. So these are the important part of the mineral nutrition, and do remember that for the normal growth of the plant, balanced nutrition is must. Without balanced nutrition, plant will not grow in the proper way. If plant is growing in the proper way, there will be poor seed production or poor fruit production, which is not the ultimate aim of crop growing, which is not the ultimate aim of plant production. So balanced nutrition of macronutrients and micronutrients are very important in case of plant metabolism. With this I conclude. Thank you. Thank you very much.
SANDHAN, All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.